Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swaggle. Do you guys remember Transformers? Remember Beast Wars? Yeah, that was good. That was good. Do you guys remember when Harrison Ford was Indiana Jones and he was whipping Nazis? Remember? Oh, that was so good. Oh, do you guys remember when Michael Keaton was Batman and he was like, I'm Batman? Remember that? Oh man, that was so good. I remember all of these things because they were literally 2 days ago at the Super Bowl as trailers for this year's movies that are coming out, conjuring up all these feelings and member berries for all of us comic book collectors. So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about the trailers, talk a little bit about what has been moving in the market. Not a whole lot, although there are some interesting things that we can sort of, discuss and take a look at some of the books that have been moving. And then later on, sort of talk a little bit about this idea of, the movies manipulating the market. Do we think that that is even going to happen? How are we supposed to feel about this stuff? Are we ever going to hit a point where trailers have the same FOMO effect that they once did? But before I get into the video, if you guys could drop me a like or comment or subscribe if you're enjoying the content, helps support the channel, doing those things, I would appreciate it. But let's get into this video here today. Actually, before we get into the video here today, I have a very special announcement / giveaway that I'm going to be offering in collaboration with Bry's Comics. That is right. This Friday, February 17th, Bry, myself, and a couple other comic book fans are going to be going to the El Capitan Theater in Los Angeles, California to watch the fan screening of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And I have 2 tickets to give away. That is right. So I am offering 2 tickets to anyone out there who wants to join Bry and myself at this fan screening. It should be a lot of fun. We're probably going to get some food, probably get some drinks, get crazy, and then maybe, depending on if the movie is good, FOMO buy a bunch of Kang the Conqueror comic books. So it'll be a very, very good time. All you have to do is get yourself to LA or be in the Los Angeles area, put Ant-Man in the comments down below. I'll later on do a comment picker. Hope to see you guys there. It'll definitely be a lot of fun, and I will send more details later on when you are picked the winner. But now that is out of the way, let us actually get into this video here today. And of course, as you guys know, we had the Super Bowl this past weekend, and like we always do every single year, at the top of the year, ever since I've been doing this channel, we always have the Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl launches a bunch of trailers, and that really, really gets all the FOMO brewing. I mean, last Super Bowl, we had the Multiverse of Madness trailer, we had the Moon Knight trailer. Those things absolutely lit up the market. I think the time before that, with the trailers that we had going into that year was, we had some Black Widow trailers, we had some Eternals trailers and Shang-Chi stuff, and that really got the market excited. So this year, we had a few different trailers. We had our Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, which I'll do a little bit of talking about later on in the video. But I think the most important one that we have to talk about is, of course, the Flash trailer and all of the excitement surrounding DC. And of course, one of the big things coming out of the Flash trailer is that we actually saw images of Kara Supergirl. Can you believe it? Here she was, Kara Supergirl. So amazing to actually see this character on the screen. I can't believe it. I mean, everybody was getting super excited, buying all of the books related to Oh wait. Actually, this is the one that's been on CW, and nobody cared about the books before this past weekend until we got this version right here, which of course is now the real Supergirl, the Supergirl that now has given us all of the FOMO to buy these books in the market. And of course, the big winner book that we have to talk about for Supergirl is actually this one right here, Superman Batman #8 from 2004. And this would be known as the reintroduction of Kara Zor-El, otherwise known as Supergirl. And I guess you could kind of say, the reintroduction is effectively the first appearance in the modern age for this particular character, because this isn't actually the first appearance of Supergirl in comic books. In fact, Supergirl actually has a bunch of little, cameos and prototype appearances that I often wonder if that actually hurts the, Action Comics 252 version of the character, although that is still a very, very expensive book. But this is the book that absolutely lit up the charts, lit up the lamps in the eBay sales, overnight, going from what was probably a, $5 to $10 book, easily into that, $20 to $25 range. You can see that not only has this book been moving a ton ever since we got the trailer, but it's also been, the series surrounding this book, a lot of the other covers, really just a lot of the run that was written by Jeff Lubb. You can see like someone bought a lot right here that included issues 8, 9, 11, 13, 26, etc. And it was really interesting to see that this book moved so much in the market and that people were so excited about seeing Supergirl. I mean, was the trailer that good? I mean, this is all very subjective. I mean, I know there was a lot of people out there that were speaking very highly about the trailer. I had my own feelings about it, but it's not up to me to tell you guys how to feel about certain trailers. But what I kind of think that is really interesting with this is, it's been my speculation this whole time that DC has to kind of, do a lot of PRing for all of the movies coming out this particular calendar year. I'm not convinced that any of these movies, Shazam, Aquaman, Flash, are really going to have much to do with anything with James Gunn's universe. I know that he publicly said that the Flash movie is going to, transition its way into, whatever he's going to do with his version of DC. But I would be a little weary of that overall. Like, I'm sure that, there's going to be, some little tie-in or some little connection. But generally speaking, I don't think that this Supergirl is going to make it past this Flash movie. If I had to predict, I would guess that this is a one and done. Although that being said, I do think that Supergirl is likely a character that James Gunn would want to utilize at some point in the future. So I suppose that the same books are going to have relevance to whenever we get that next actress playing the character of Supergirl. I'm just not convinced that this particular Supergirl is going to make it through to the next phase. And that just sort of makes me wonder about, the sustainability of the prices of this particular book, Superman Batman number 8. Now, there is, of course, the other book that is Action Comics 252, what I would call the true first appearance of Supergirl. And I do think that this one is actually a really good buy if you have the budget to get this one, because of the fact that it is not only a Silver Age book, but an early Silver Age book. And we actually did have one sale coming off of this trailer that I thought was interesting to talk about. This 5.5 right here sold for $3,599 on Sunday after the trailer, which would make this the record high price for this book at that particular grade. If we open up the 5.5s right here, we can actually see that this was a book that actually set a record price all the way back in 2015. June of 2015, there was a $3,512 sale. And ever since then, this book has been on the decline. It had a little bump up in 2021, shooting back up to $3,200, but then had its correction once again. And now this last sale at $3,600 is actually the record high price. So that, in my opinion, is very, very impressive that, any book here in 2023 that can get a record high price for itself, I think is doing really well overall. And I would say that this is probably a pretty decent buy, although I do suspect that, again, like I said, once we get this Flash movie, we're probably not going to get Supergirl for, another, handful of years or so until James Gunn wants to kind of relaunch the character in his own way. Now, of course, the other big thing that happened in that trailer was, of course, the Michael Keaton cameo, or I guess not even a cameo. I think he's going to effectively be playing, one of the lead roles in the film. He had that moment where he said, "I am Batman," and literally everybody in comics and pop culture decided to liquidate their houses and everything that they are worth in order to buy tickets for this movie, because everybody was like, remember when Michael Keaton said, "I am Batman"? Everybody lost their mind when he said that in the trailer. And I gotta admit, even for me, I thought that that was a pretty cool moment. But again, I'm not going to hold my breath. Just because he's in this movie doesn't make me think that The Flash is going to be the greatest movie ever made. I hope that it is. But unfortunately, I can no longer default to trust with DC until they start to show me otherwise. But we did see a few Batman movie adaptation 1989 comics move in the market. Not a whole lot, but this is the one book that I thought, hey, did have some relevance to Michael Keaton Batman. And it did feel like there were some, nostalgia people making purchases of this thing. We had about six sales or so, which of course is not a ton, but I would say that that is more than you would see on a typical day. Now, the last little thing I thought was interesting to talk about with this trailer was when we had the two Flashes staring at each other. And I don't know if you guys caught this as well, but I don't think it's a mistake that this particular Flash is wearing all yellow while this Flash has kind of a maroon red theme here. I think that that is intentional costume design by these characters, because it's my suspicion that, you know, probably by the end of the movie, it's going to be Reverse Flash as the villain here. I think that that's probably what they're setting up. Now, Flash 139 is the first appearance of Reverse Flash, and it didn't feel like the spec market went overly crazy with this book. This felt like a book that, you know, I would have thought maybe we would have had a lot more speculation buys, but we only had one live auction, so that was going to end regardless. It didn't matter that we actually got the trailer, although I do think that that was a pretty strong sale for that book. Of course, it was sold at $679. Again, you know, some of the other prices for this book have been $453, $825, I guess a fixed price, $501, $660, $540. So maybe not the ultimate best sale, but a pretty decent one considering it was a live auction. I'm sure that the trailer helped it out a bit. Now, of course, the other big trailer related to comic books was the one that we got for the Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, we've already seen some images of Guardians of the Galaxy at this point. We didn't really get anything specifically new. Like, it's not like we got an image of Nova in this movie, or it's not like we got, you know, some character that the market didn't know about. So, you know, to that effect, we didn't really get any FOMO buys or anything like that, even with all the additional shots of Adam Warlock and the High Evolutionary. So I do think that it's interesting that, you know, if I go over to Key Collector and I go into the Guardians of the Galaxy tab, you can see all the books related to this movie. I mean, we didn't really have any FOMO for this one. I mean, I think the market has definitely decided, hey, we're going to kind of take a wait and see approach, or maybe the people who have the books already have the books, and we're just going to, you know, it's going to require a few more years for these books to kind of grow organically. I guess the one book that did have a few sales more than what it would normally do was Avengers 257, which is the first appearance of Nebula. You know, I think we had a couple more sales than we would normally see on a regular day, and maybe that has to do with the fact that, you know, she was featured a little more prominently in the trailer this time around. Seems like, you know, she might be, you know, one of the lead characters kind of carrying on the mantle of the Guardians of the Galaxy in the future. But that's all for this video. That was me just sort of recapping some of the movement that we saw coming off of these trailers. I mean, we're definitely in a new year, definitely in a new phase in the collectible market where, you know, previously the Super Bowl trailers had massive effect on what we saw move in the market. Now, you know, we're kind of in that fool me once, shame on you, you can't fool me again sort of situation. The comic book market is not really budging outside of the fact of when we get those random books, you know, that nobody has been speculating on, or the ones that are very, very cheap that people, you know, don't feel that bad FOMOing into, like the reintroduction of Supergirl or other characters that James Gunn had not yet talked about. I think when we get some of those characters, we'll still see that movement. But, you know, the big ticket books, those books don't seem to be as liquid as they may have been in association with other movies in other previous years. Anyways, that's all I got for this video. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys want to join me and Bry's Comics at the Quantum Mania screening later on this week, Friday, February 17th, definitely put your name in the hat. Just put Ant-Man somewhere in the comments, and we will be giving away 2 tickets. It should be a lot of fun. Obviously, you got to get yourself to LA. You got to be here in the Southern California area. So don't enter the contest if you are not actually able to do so or able to attend the event. Anyways, that's all I got for this video. Drop me a like, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying the content. I'll see you in the next one.